I am a root beer person, yes. Not my first choice, but I enjoy root beer.
Penny, what about you?
I love root beer.
Root beer float, drink.
Yeah, anything that ends with beer.
Welcome to the Mason Miller Show. We're joined by Chief Chad Brachbill and my co-host, Clay Miller. Chad, how are you doing tonight?
Fine. It still sounds weird being called that. So, yeah.
How does it feel to be
Chad
promoted
or
to Chief?
How does it feel? It feels the same. Doesn't really feel any different. Once in a while, like I'll go to ask something from someone and realize I don't have to do that anymore. I just
You're the boss.
Kind of go with it, yeah.
Are there any new challenges or that come with the job?
Managing people. So I'm not responsible for just myself anymore. I'm responsible for others. That's the biggest challenge. Nothing to do with police work. All dealing with people.
About working daytime.
And yeah, okay. Yeah, that's a challenge too.
You're the most regimented schedule person I've ever met. That's saying a lot because I'm very that way. So this has to be a monumental change for you.
It is. And they kept saying, you'll get used to it. After a couple months, you'll get used to it. Well, it's been a couple months, and I'm not used to it. I'll go to sleep and wake up at midnight, just like I've been up all night. So, but slowly, I can tell I'm getting a little bit more used to it. And then the weekend will come, and I'm not working, and I'll go right back to my old schedule. And then by the time Monday comes, I got to go back. So, yeah, to a fault is my scheduling. I'm very regimented.
Yeah.
Well, when you were in high school, did you ever imagine becoming a cop? Or what year did you graduate, first of all?
1989.
Oh, you're old.
Yeah, I am. 3 years older than your parents. Yeah.
I'll say he's not that
I
old.
just turned 50.
So what did you want? Did you always want to be a cop, or what did you want to do?
I did. It was either that or be a teacher. And my parents, all four of my parents were teachers. My stepdad was a teacher. My dad was a principal. My mom taught at Mattoon, and my stepmom taught at Windsor. And so they encouraged me not to become a teacher. They thought there would be better avenues. So I wanted to be a PE coach and a teacher, or a PE teacher and a coach, and teach health, But
What would you coach?
They said go
Football.
be shot at. Go be shot at instead.
Yeah. So it starts when I was probably 12 years old. So my parents were friends with Brent Fogelman, who used to be the police chief. And so he would come over and he would have his uniform on his radio, and it would be going off and you'd hear the things. And once in a while he'd have to put the coffee down and run out. And when you're 11, you think that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is when I thought that's what I want to do. And so once I got older, I went back to thinking I want to be a coach and a teacher. And then the first job I got was in Missouri at a sheriff's office. And that's when I knew that's what I wanted to do. Then an opening came up here in Shelbyville. And I thought, I don't really want to go back. I know too many people. And I got hired. I've been here ever since.
How many years have you been?
This is year number 26.
Wait, so
26, yeah.
So what did you major in school? Were you criminal justice or just whatever?
I was criminal justice, but it took me a couple years because that first year, you
don't really know. You're just kind of
so you take
classes.
your prerequisites and do all that, and then I went into, and then my daughter was born in the middle of college, so that kind of set me back a little bit. So, but it was criminal justice. Yeah, that's what I.
So you were a county officer in Missouri?
I was a deputy at a sheriff's office for 1 year.
Okay.
And while I was in Missouri, you have to go to the academy within 1 year of being hired. So I worked
so you
there.
Could start,
yes, I worked there for about 6 months, and they finally have an opening. They sent me to the academy, and when I was almost finished, Shelbyville started testing, and I got the job here.
Do they let you carry a gun and stuff where you go to the academy? It's like
No.
Barney,
no.
you
When do you get to
got to
do
keep the
that?
bullet in the pocket in your pocket.
No, no. I mainly kept Otis locked up and the keys next to the door.
I bet you love going on those calls, walking up with no gun or anything. You're
it
like,
didn't really go on calls.
Oh, okay.
So I would ride as like a training.
Yeah.
But 40 hours a week, I was in the jail. But this jail was different because it was like 50 miles south of St. Louis. So this county held federal inmates. And each inmate that they held paid that county $65 a day per inmate. So you had your locals like Otis that were locked up in there, and then
people that were passing through that were federally, you guys were holding on.
Yeah, I remember one time we had the terrorist bombing in '93 in New York City.
Really?
That guy, one of the co-conspirators, we were holding because they were all federal inmates. So they would come them down from St. Louis, and we'd hold them. So there were probably, let's say there were 60 inmates, give or take, at any time. Like 20 of them were local. The rest of them were federal. So that county made a ton of money doing that. And you'd have to take them to court in St. Louis, the federal building, and back. So there was a lot of expense to it, too, and a lot of safety. But this wasn't your typical county jail. I mean, they had like a pod setting in the jail where you could sit in a control room and watch,
watch everybody.
360.
So this was serious.
Yeah, I mean, it was. And then they had this big 10-foot chain link fence all around it. And you'd have to do like perimeter checks every hour just in case somebody was trying to break somebody out. Yeah, it was. So that was a good experience because you went through the booking and I think any cop ought to work in a jail first. And then they ought to dispatch second. And then they should come in.
So it really did prepare you for what you do now.
It did. Yeah, I would recommend any or a police academy teach the booking and the dispatching before you actually go on the street, because the things you need to know and the things you appreciate, like when you take an inmate or an arrestee on the street, you take them into the jail. Well, that jailer's got a lot of responsibilities. And if you've never worked in a jail, you just take it for granted, you dump them and run out the door. And then there's a whole mess of things they have to deal with: the person's health, their safety, their phone calls, their legal things. I mean, there's a lot to do.
Right.
And so it was a good experience. I wouldn't change it for anything.
Well, it helps you probably a lot now too to understand all the behind the scenes. I mean, everything that goes on. Like you said, it's not just one little aspect of the job. You've gotten to work in several different parts of it. So just to follow up on Mason's question about when you came up here, so you decided to go ahead, and even though it was home and you knew everybody, you were going to come up here anyway. So you got hired in Shelbyville. So did you have to go back to the academy in Illinois?
I did. So when I got hired here, Gary Crowder was the chief, and he tried to get Missouri's academy transferred here. And that would save not only me having to go to the academy for 12 more weeks, but it would, have to get an immediate help on the street. So we found out that it wouldn't transfer because you have to have 3 years experience plus the academy. And I only had just under a year by the time I worked in the jail and went to the academy. So I graduated from that academy on June 6th, started this academy in Illinois on June 30th. And so between...
Would you have like 24 weeks of...
Yeah. So I had 16 weeks in the Missouri Academy. I had like 3.5 weeks off to ride around the Shelbyville, and then 12 weeks back in this academy. And I must say, Illinois Academy was hands above anything Missouri taught me.
Really?
Oh, it was, threefold. It was that much better. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, much more professional. The academy in Missouri was held at a community college, which they did the best they could, but they had part-time instructors that would come in, and if they had a pre-arranged schedule that they couldn't come to the academy, we just did something different that day. So at the Illinois academies, that's what those people do, and they train you, and the training was just much better. So I learned a lot more coming from the Missouri Academy to the Illinois Academy, but I couldn't have got any better schooling because I was in the academy for 28 weeks learning about something in a 32-week period. So I'm glad I'll never have to do that.
Pretty well prepared.
Yeah, it was.
Well, how much is being a police officer when you started changed to now? Is there a big difference?
Yes, huge difference. These new laws that are coming down from the governor's office. It was just, I mean, I hate to say it was a different time because it's, I mean, it has been a long time, but you have to, there's just so much more work in an arrest, where it used to be you'd write a little 6-sentence paragraph, drop it off the jail with the guy, and you were done. And now there's just so much more to it. It would take 20 minutes to try to describe it to you. But to answer your question, it's a lot tougher than it was 25 years ago. So.
Do you think it's, and I know in the cities, obviously we hear about this on the news all the time, but is it almost more of you have to protect yourself and the department and all that through every step of it, as opposed to it's almost where the police officers, the teachers, whoever, back when we were growing up, they got the benefit of the doubt, and now it's almost reversed.
It is reversed, yeah. Yeah, and that's why, which one of the rules or the new laws that are great are the body cams. And for years we fought it. You know, don't want body cams. You know, it's like Big Brother's watching you at all times. But now
but
you
it can
see
protect
so much,
you, right? I mean,
you see so much, you know, complaints and liabilities and lawsuits that your evidence is right there. And so when somebody comes in and says you did this or you said this or whatever, you've got it right there, and it'll knock down the complaints next to nothing. Not that we get a lot of complaints, because we really don't.
Right.
But yeah, it'll be.
But definitely in a city, I would be doing it. But I wouldn't blame you guys either. I think if I was a teacher, I would wear a body cam too.
Yeah.
I mean, as crazy as this world is,
it is.
It used to be when you would come home as a kid, and you know, if God forbid a police officer said anything, but a teacher or whatever, you know, parents looked at you and like, what did you do? And now it's 90% of the time, you know, looking at the teacher, the police officer, whoever that is, and it's like, well, why are you picking on them? You know, and sometimes 10% of the time maybe that's justified, but 90% of the time, you know.
You remember in the summers when all those teachers would work at the Corps?
Yeah.
So in 4th grade, Mr. Tipsword was like the de facto principal at Vine Street. And 3 times that year, he spanked me with his paddle, 3 times. And every time I thought he's going to tell one of my dads, because both of my dads worked at the Corps. And sooner or later, they're going to find out. I didn't tell them. I thought if they're going to find out, they're going to have to earn it.
Right.
But I'm not going to tell them. And he must have never told because they never found out. But to get to your question,
you were much more scared of what your parents were going to do than taking a beating from Mr. Tipsword.
Right. And now the teacher or the policeman, they don't get the benefit of the doubt. You know, it's going to go before a board of some sort, or, you know, whether it be a disciplinary board or a write-up or whatever. That's the body cams. You know, they'll protect you. If you're doing things right, the way they're supposed to be done, you'll be protected.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Tipsword would be arrested. You would be arrested and throw him in jail now because he had a wooden paddle that would line up, boys. You know what you did wrong.
And he wasn't the only one.
No.
Mr. Reddick's got me. Mr. Enkoff got me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you're not cleaning up the streets of Shelbyville, what are some hobbies you like to do in your short downtime?
I like to exercise at the zone. I like to work in my yard. I like to plant grass and watch it grow, as weird as that is. I know he's the same way.
Yes.
Simple plants like mums or something that don't take any care. Doesn't take any brain power to sow grass seed and do plants. So I like doing those.
There's another thing that like he likes to do is watch hummingbirds. He got a hummingbird feeder and he puts it in a tree. Something about you guys getting older, you like watching birds and plants.
Well, it's not like
because it's older
and watch birds. It's I work in a home office a lot, and it's kind of nice to see like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's a hummingbird.
I didn't even know how to plant grass seed before I got this job. So I worked with Dave Tallman. He taught me everything there was to know about grass seed.
Oh yeah,
I didn't even know how to sow it.
Be terrified.
I didn't even know it was called sowing.
I would be worried to walk across his yard in sock feet.
I know.
Let alone.
I know. So that's where I learned how to sow grass seed. I thought it was plant grass seed.
I mean, I like my grass to be nice, but his is a whole other level in his yard.
I mean, I'd see like a bare spot, grab a handful of seed, throw it on there, and wonder why it's not growing.
Right.
And so that was little things that you pick up along the way. And then when you own your own home for the first time, which before I got this job and moved back to Shelbyville, I never lived in a house with central air. And I never did any home repairs or anything like that. So, you know, just trial and error. But to get back to your question, what are my hobbies? I watch a lot of TV. Prime shows.
Favorite TV show?
Favorite TV show. Whatever's on the ID channel.
So you're streaming stuff, aren't you?
No, it's on Dish. I mean, I don't know, what is streaming? You watch
Well, I
it
figured you're
online?
watching Netflix or something like that. Or
Yeah, I watch some Netflix, but generally I have my DVR is always like bumping up to 95% full, and then I've got to delete stuff.
And your
put new
Hulu
stuff.
that you give out to everyone?
And I may or may not lend out my password to people.
Right.
But yeah, I watch a lot of TV. I watch a lot of sports. That's about it. That's about all the hobbies I've got.
We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more from Chad.
Hi, this is Penny Standerfer with the Shelbyville Police Department and volunteer for saving orphaned animals. Over the past 14 years, we have been able to save over 3,000 dogs, cats, puppies, and kittens from being euthanized, and instead we place them in loving homes and great rescue groups. Much of this is made possible by the generous donations from people like you, which enable us to get the rescued pets the medical care often required. So if you or someone you know are ready to provide a great home for a pet, please check us out on petfinder.com, or you can contact Shelby County Animal Control at 217-774-4932 and find your new family member today. Also, to donate to Saving Orphaned Animals, please reach out to me, Penny, at the Shelbyville Police Department. Thank you.
Welcome back to the Mason Miller Show, where we're still joined by Chief Chad Brachbill and now Penny Standerfer. How are you doing tonight, Penny?
I'm great. Thank you.
And
It's your aunt. Aunt Penny.
yes, that is my aunt.
Because
You're
Cousin
right.
Penny.
Cousin. Sorry, cousin, yeah.
Feels like aunt. But
Yes.
we're going to try out our first soda of the night, which is the Frosty root beer, which has gotten a lot of positive feedback from the people that have bought it and tried it.
Where can you purchase?
You can
said
purchase
root
these
beer?
at Jake's
Antiques in Shelbyville.
Yep. Right here in Shelbyville.
Pass that down. Give yourself a little bit too.
Here, sir.
So who chose this, Penny or Chad?
Kind of both did.
yeah, Mason helped me out. He
So
said he'd been wanting to try this one, so
So this is the
You
Frosty.
allowed to drink?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay.
Give
Let
it a
her,
taste.
let her rip, tater chip.
That's really good.
Dog and Suds root beer.
Brack's like sold.
Yeah. Jake's Antiques on Route 16. That's where we go get it, right?
That's right.
Okay.
So would you drink it again?
I would drink it again.
You
I
drink
would
the
actually
full
buy
thing.
it. I would buy it.
How many?
I would buy a 12-pack.
Ooh, we only have 6-pack.
Is that all they sell by 6-packs at Jake's?
I guess you could buy 2
Oh,
6-packs.
you could. Yeah.
Or you could do something crazy like order more, Mason.
That's what I said. I mean, you could get 2 6-packs.
Right.
Show the bottle, the front. It's really cute. Get her ready
Who's
for
responsible for
Christmas.
ordering this? Jake or Carol?
Are you kidding me?
Jake? I don't even think he knows that.
Mason goes
Soda
down and
soda.
picks it. Mason goes down and picks it on the list, and then they trek up to
Mom and I
pick it all
go to
up.
Chicago to pick it up at a place that deals soda.
A soda dealer. It's shady.
How many different types of soda are at this dealer?
Oh,
Oh, they come out with new ones every month.
Hundreds,
and-
thousands.
Hundreds.
yeah.
Yeah, well over 100. Or well over hundreds.
Well over hundreds.
I have to give it another taste.
So are you? I mean, are you guys root beer people?
I am a root beer person. Yes. Not my first choice, but I enjoy root beer.
Penny, what about you?
I love root beer.
Root beer float, drink.
Yeah, anything that ends with beer.
It's funny because everybody, like, I don't know when the last time was I ever had a root beer until Mason started all this, but Mason's drank root beer since he was a kid. So it's funny because a lot of people will come on and, like, I don't know if they've had a root beer in 20 years.
Since they were
you know?
kids.
Right. Mm-hmm. But it is pretty good. And different ones kind of make you think of different things or different times because, I mean, they have every kind of flavor, anything you can ever imagine. It's not even really root beer. It's just like old-time soda. It's kind of neat.
It's funny you say that about reminding you about things because when I lived in Windsor when I was a kid, there was a pop machine uptown for 25 cents. And they had cream soda.
Mm-hmm.
And I swear this pop machine was set at 33 degrees. and you get one of those cream sodas, and it was the best.
Right.
taste, and so anytime I have a cream soda, that's exactly what I
Well,
think
you
about.
guys will remember this. So last time when we had Paul Brooks on, we were talking about this, and we had one that he did not care for, and I liked it, and it was cherry, and it reminded me of strawberry or cherry Shasta.
I remember Shasta. Yeah.
And I said, I like it because I think I just remember the time, like, I was probably junior high or younger. And then, and even in high school, still going on because, nobody had any money. And we'd go through Kentucky Fried Chicken, where Monocle's is now, get a bag of Chicken Littles. And there'd be
39
like 4
cents a
guys.
piece.
Yeah.
There was a
We'd
KFC.
pool our money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What?
it's where
I didn't know
Monocle's
that.
is. And then you'd pull over by, was IGA then. What is it? County Market.
Right,
Now
with
it's
the
nothing.
machines
Machines are out front, and for a quarter, you could get like an RC Cola or Shasta or something, or a Vess, and we'd all like pump change in there and get whatever we could.
And
That was
Tab
lunch.
was a
Tab.
Oh, yeah,
great
Tab.
drink.
Tab.
Oh, yeah. If you're on a diet when you were 14, Tab
Oh yeah.
was awful. The worst tasting.
Well, we never really kept soda in the house, and my mom would be
Never.
like, "Oh, I bought some soda." It's like, "Oh, we're having pizza on a Thursday night, and soda. This is insane." I'd go
Big
downstairs,
deal.
be all fired up, thinking it's Coke, and it'd be like Vess.
A
I'd be like,
2-liter bottle.
yeah, of some crazy generic
Off-brand,
off-brand
yeah.
crap, and
Off-brand.
I was like, "Oh, okay, well, better than nothing, I guess."
Well, Penny, since Chad is the chief of police, what is your job?
How
At the
much
police
worse is
Funny,
your
I
Josh?
just asked her this last week what her job
I'm
was.
the assistant chief.
So tell us. So you're dispatcher, right?
Yeah. Telecommunicator. I
Telecommunicators.
have many names.
Right.
Yeah.
So tell us what a average day in the life of Penny is. What does that entail up
Well,
there?
before Chief Brachbill or after?
Well, I don't know. Let's hear
Well,
both.
before, yeah. Now, since Chief Brachbill, we have Diet Coke and all kinds of fun things. He offers to do things like, do you need me to run the post office today? Or what can I do to make your life easier?
He needs
That's right.
he needs to make sure that his people are supportive of him
Okay,
because
so
he's
you-
terrified.
I know you're young, but have you ever heard the saying, happy wife, happy life?
Yep.
Well, there's one, happy penny, happy day. It doesn't rhyme, but that's, you keep Penny happy and everybody's happy.
Everything's
Exactly.
So,
You know
yeah.
how it
flows
works.
a little easier.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
She
I
wears all
just-
these hats, like
I do.
probably a dozen of them. She does everything. Everything except patrol. And she could probably do that.
Well, don't
And
wanna
one of the
try.
things you do is animal rescue.
Yes, I do. So sometimes my mornings just start with switching my radio over from the sheriff's department, just kind of slow morning. Sometimes you walk into, you don't know what have you guys been doing before I got there at 8 o'clock? Or I walk in and somebody walks in with a litter of kittens or a puppy that they found or a dog that they don't know where it belongs. And your morning will be going along pretty good. And then you'll have a traffic accident and bank alarm goes off and it's just never know. Sometimes it's really quiet, and other days it's pretty hectic.
What do you do? So what's the name? And I know you've always been really involved in this, but tell me, when did you get involved? How did you get involved? And what's the actual name of, is it Shelby County Rescue? What's the name of the animal?
Well, it's called Saving Orphaned Animals,
Okay.
and I started, this is year 15, but 16 years ago when we moved to the country, I went to the animal shelter because I wanted to adopt a dog, and I did. Before that, I had tried to help a friend of mine because we were a very high kill shelter every Friday. Just because of lack of space, animals were put to sleep for no reason. And we had a horrible shelter there. And so I started with her, and then she kind of filtered out, and then we just started, and we've been going strong for 16 years, 15 years I've been counting it, but it was a year before that, really. So.
And in that time, you've gotten, I don't know who, I guess is it the county or who built the new shelter?
Yeah, the Shelby County Animal Control built the new shelter, and then I'm just a volunteer to make sure that they're happy and healthy while they're there. If they need flea treatment or dewormed or they've got a broken leg, or we provide, Saving Orphaned Animals provides the funds to make sure that those animals are happy and healthy until we can find them a new home.
Which it is really nice. That shelter is.
It
And
is.
there's
It's very
if you ever
nice.
need
Yeah,
to
it
give
is
your
nice.
dog a good bath, take them out there, because there's a 24-hour a day you can go into that dog bath in there, and it's nice.
Yeah, it's very nice.
We went on a tour there last year during school, and it was pretty cool on the inside.
We thought about renting one of those spaces to put you and your brother in there from time to time over the first year.
I have said I could stay there. It wouldn't bother me.
You know, when you plug Jake's Antiques on this, you could plug Saving Orphan Animals. So if anybody at the end of the year wants to make a donation that they write off their taxes, make it to Saving Orphan Animals.
Exactly.
Care of Penny Standerfer.
And you can go right down there and see exactly where your money's going if you want to see that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great place to donate to. Or donate time if you don't have the money, or send your kid down there to volunteer, or go adopt a pet.
Yeah.
There's a bunch
You
of
could use all of those. It was nice when your CEO class came, and you guys are coming back this year. Tiny Tech's coming. I have kids who have birthday parties, and they don't want toys, and so they collect donations for the animals. And my thing back to them is, okay, now I want you to come bring your donations from your birthday party, and I want to give you a tour of the facility. And that is the best birthday present. I think these kids are like, wow, this is really nice and interesting. And
old or young, whenever you go inside there, everyone likes dogs or cats or whatever. It seems like everyone goes crazy over them.
Yeah. We're very, very fortunate to have the new facility.
And I've asked her before, because when you read an obituary in the paper, sometimes you'll see memorials went to Shelbyville Saving Orphan Animals. And I asked her, how often does that happen? Do you get donations? And it's more than I thought.
Really?
People are leaving donations. Yeah.
What is your, without giving too many details, like what is the budget / monetary situation right now? Are you guys
We're doing
pretty
well.
funded?
It took us a long time. When we first started out, I remember when Dave Tallman was the chief, and he would say, they're using their own money to go to Real King to buy shots for these animals, and so that doesn't happen anymore. We've really came a long way. The community has been very generous, and it's hard to say what we would spend in a year just with meds. I mean, you think what you spend on your own animal with heartworm prevention and flea and tick, and they come in with skin issues. There's just, and every dog's different, so we just make them comfortable. And I'm in there before work and lunch hour and after work and evenings, and I'm fortunate if we're not really busy. That's my 15-minute break, I think, sometimes. I run to the shelter and meet some people. Animal control's just one person. He has a huge county to cover, and he can't do it by himself. There's just too much to it anymore.
I never realized how involved it was until I started working on days with her, and she is always doing something. She probably donates 5 hours a week of her own time to do this animal, always going to the pound, or somebody will dump off a dog for her and say, I'm done with the dog, and the dog needs health care, needs shots, needs love, and they just dump it at her feet and say, it's your problem now. And she never says no. So
I used to pass her occasionally. I would, be going to Decatur or somewhere early, and Penny would be in front of me, and I would be like, what are you doing? Call her, what are you doing? Oh, I'm meeting someone to drop off a puppy or something, and driving with her own money, own time. Going up there.
Yep.
We used to get maybe 3 or 4 litters a week of puppies. And when I would see you, and I'd kind of forgot about that, Love at First Sight in Decatur had a rescue at the Hickory Point Mall, and she lived just north of Dalton City, so she would meet me at 8 o'clock or 7:30 or whenever. She would take those puppies on to the vets in Decatur, and they would be up there at the mall trying to find them homes.
Yeah.
Do you have people that buy these dogs from far away, states away? How far away do
they come to rescue?
Do they come to, yeah.
Yeah, I've had people from Massachusetts. I have flown dogs through Pilots for Paws, to Ohio, Chicago, Iowa. I would say probably Massachusetts was the farthest one. But the surrounding states, I get a lot of people, depending on what type of dog they're looking for.
And speaking of that, there's been many times where somebody will need that dog from out of state, and they can meet on a Saturday or Sunday. She doesn't work Saturdays and Sundays, but she comes out, meets them at the pound or wherever the drop-off is, and that's how it goes down.
Yeah, we make it work. Everybody contributes. So,
well, you did mention people come as far away as Chicago. So to that point, Are you? We heard a rumor that you're both Cubs fans. Is that accurate?
It's accurate, yes.
That's
Yes.
embarrassing.
2016,
It is
sorry,
right now.
Sorry, the single A,
No,
the single
no,
A
no.
Cubs.
Listen to this.
2016 World Series.
Oh my gosh,
When was the last time the Cardinals won something?
2011,
That was like a decade ago.
and we were in the series in 13.
When was the last time
When's
both?
the last time you won a World Series?
11.
Yeah, it's like 10 years ago.
But we have 11.
And then when was the time before that the Cardinals won?
06.
When was the time before that the Cubs won?
08?
Yeah.
19?
Was it?
19?
We're building
Oh.
for the future.
Does it ever seriously, and I'm not trying to be funny, I know you guys are Cubs fans, but does it ever make you wonder, like, how do they win so rarely and the Cardinals win so much?
Character building. That's why we're the
Oh my
people we are.
gosh.
That's why we're the people we are,
Do you-
because we're used to that.
Do you like losing?
No. We're building for the future.
It
right
tears
now.
you up every year. Oh, he lives and dies by every game. And the last person you ever want to run into if the Cardinals have strung 2 or 3 together or swept the Cubs is got to be
Coach
hurt.
Ernest.
Oh,
Now, let me. So the typical Cardinal fan, okay, I'm going to give you an example.
Mm-hmm.
This year they've been
Great.
third place most of the year.
right.
Okay?
Second.
It's been a
Second
rough
to
year.
fourth. It's been a rough year.
Ups and
Haven't
downs.
heard from this handful of Cardinal fans that I know until 2 weeks ago when this started and they started making a playoff push. And all my phone is blowing up now from these Cardinal fans. I'm like, where were you for the last 4 months? Hiding.
I wasn't hiding.
I'm not talking about you
He's talking
necessarily.
about the people that are
Talking
blowing his
about
phone up.
The Dave Mills and the Bob Hurtises of the world,
Right.
where you can't find them until they start winning, and then they come out of the woodwork.
Coach Hurst is the type of guy I asked at one time. They weren't playing very well. I was like, "You gonna watch the game tonight?" I said, "No, done. Not gonna watch them anymore." And then all of a sudden they start winning, and here he comes.
He does that with Illinois, too.
Out of the woodwork.
If Illinois basketball plays bad, he shuts it off, says, I'm done with him, and then they win 2 games in a row, and he's back. But I don't do that. I do not. I mean, if it's a Cubs fan, whatever, because I feel like it can go any way.
It's a long season.
At any point. But, yeah, it's got to be rough. There's been a lot of rough decades.
They have a beautiful Wrigley Field too.
Guess that's something to look forward to.
I think peeing in a
They
trough.
keep rebuilding Bush to try to make it look better, and it just looks the same all the time. We stick with one.
Well,
Wrigley-
Wrigley
Well, they
Field.
have to remodel it to fit those World Series flags up there. I mean, Lord.
Well, Wrigley's kind of cool, but it's no Fenway.
You ran out of room at Old Bush. You had to expand it. In the
I've been to
outfield.
Fenway just like you have.
Fenway's
And
awesome.
can you pick between Wrigley
Well,
or
you've
Yeah,
never been
Wrigley's
to Wrigley,
better.
so I don't even know how you can say that.
That's the home of the Cubs.
Wrigley
Everybody
Field.
has to go to Wrigley.
Yeah.
I will say this. Now, we went to Boston, Fenway, and that is awesome. I mean, I hope they never get rid of that. I was at Wrigley at a game, and then I've been by there a couple times, but actually in for a game when I was like 9. And we really should go. For as much as I'm not a Cubs fan, I mean, I hope they never get rid of Wrigley or Fenway just because, they are antiques sitting there.
I don't think they'll get rid of Wrigley because they just stunk about $50 million into it over the last 3 years. So
They
And
got
it's,
new. They got
historic.
new troughs, so people are bigger, so
troughs.
you can stand next to each other and talk and
More
whiz
room to
whiz
pee.
in the trough.
I got a funny story about that. I don't know if this will make the edit, but so I was in the bathroom at Wrigley Field one time, and like you said, there's troughs, and so you're shoulder to shoulder with 30 other guys going to the bathroom.
All saying,
And
"Wait till next year."
evidently, one guy in there had never been there before. So I know what he was trying to do. He was taking a picture of it so he could show his relatives what the inside of Wrigley Field bathroom was. And all of a sudden, he had like 30 guys yelling pervert at him, and they started attacking him, and he ran out of the bathroom. It was great because they thought he was taking a picture of them when he was really just taking a
And the
picture of
last
the
thing you're gonna do is whip out your badge, say you're a cop, but you're just
No,
like, no,
I
nothing
ran
to
the
see
other
here.
way.
I just want to
Yeah.
go watch the game.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, we're going to take another break, and we'll be right back. Although it doesn't feel like it now, the holiday rush will soon be here. The Stringle family of No Bad Days Farm here in Shelbyville are hard at work preparing to supply you with everything you'll need to create that fun old-fashioned family Christmas. At No Bad Days Farm, you'll be able to purchase your tree and fresh wreaths as well as roping and evergreen bundles for decorating. Additionally, they'll have grave blankets, pillows, and candles. And while visiting, don't forget to pick up an ornament and check out their hats, shirts, and official No Bad Days custom crafted coffee. The Schwingle family will have the farm open beginning Saturday and Sunday, November 20th, the weekend before Thanksgiving from 9 to 5, and will continue each weekend while supplies last. They will also be open on Black Friday, and Santa and Mrs. Claus will be on the farm on Friday, December 3rd for the kids. So mark your calendar starting November 20th for a visit to No Bad Days Farm and join the Schwingle family to kick off the Christmas season. Welcome back to the Mason Miller Show, and we're going to try out our second soda, which is the Orange Boots Dreamsicle, also available
at Jake's Antiques, Route 16 in Shelbyville, across from Casey's.
And who are we joined by?
Still Chad Brachbill and Penny Standerfer.
Or Chief Brachbill.
Chief.
And what's your title, Penny?
Assistant Chief Standerfer.
Assistant to the chief.
Yeah, Dwight Schrute.
Telecommunicator, dog rescuer,
Right.
janitor.
Mini farmer.
Yeah.
Form filler outer.
Yeah.
Getting technical on me. Form filler outer.
I bet this one's going to be good.
When was the last time you drank this?
Oh, about 2 weeks ago.
I've never had Dreamsicle.
It's going to taste good with that root beer.
Yep. Maybe a root beer Dreamsicle. Bottoms up.
It tastes like one of those
really
orange sickle.
Sure. Yeah, the little
Yes.
pop. Yeah.
Dreamsicle. Yes, that's it. Yeah, that's what it
You know,
tastes
they
like.
make Twizzlers like that now that taste just like
I
that.
know that.
They are so good.
They
You
are.
guys had them on the boat.
My favorite.
Where do you
I
get them
didn't-
at? Jake's Antiques, Route 16?
No, not this time.
Across the street in Casey's.
You can have a package upstairs, I think, because they're too rich for me. Like they're stuffed with something.
They are. It's cream.
You
Cream
can't
cheese.
you can't improve on just a Twizzler, a red Twizzler.
Yeah, you can. It's called a
Uh,
Dreamsicle Twizzler.
the cherry pull apart.
Yeah,
Those are
really
those are good.
soft.
Yes, those are good.
Thank you.
But the worst one is the black, whatever that
Black
one
licorice,
is.
You don't like black licorice?
Ugh.
There's different reasons.
Where do
Like
you get
you'll
this Dreamsicle licorice? Walmart?
Yeah, you can get it at Walmart.
Yeah.
Guess I'll plug them too.
You could take it and eat it at Jake's Antiques on Route 16 in Shelbyville.
While enjoying
While
a roots beer.
or a Dreamsicle
Right.
soda.
If you really want to, it tastes like sherbet to me.
It
is what
does.
reminds
Yeah,
me of.
that's what it reminds me of
Yeah.
too.
Orange sherbet. So
So Penny, when you're not working and doing all these jobs, what are some of your hobbies?
Well, my husband has a hobby farm,
Or is working your hobby?
and I work for him. And working is my hobby. Yeah, cattle and goats and more dogs and cats. I like to
a lot of
lay
grass to
around
mow.
a lot
Yeah.
of grass to mow. Like to lay around the pool all summer.
Hot tub.
Hot tub, yep. Have to do that.
The occasional trip out on the lake.
Yeah, get to go to the lake once in a while. Blake,
She's a slave to her
if
property.
Blake asks me.
To go out on our old boat, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, yeah, we
Watch
asked
the
Penny to go,
grandkids.
and she was too impatient to wait. So Summerses were putting on, so she jumps on with Summerses, and we just see her
Yeah.
at the
I can't sit very long. I have to be busy.
right.
You know, I heard a rumor around the zone that Eric Hobby can still outlift you.
It's true.
It is true.
He's a lot younger.
Is he
though.
stronger than you?
Oh, yeah.
At
What
your-
about whenever you were that age?
At your peak and his peak? Who would have
He's stronger.
really?
Yes.
He's
Yeah.
freakishly
He
strong,
is.
though.
He
isn't
really
he?
is.
I mean, to look at him, and if somebody said that guy benches 400 pounds, you'd be like, "There's
Right.
no way," and he does.
Because as tall as he is and as long
Yeah.
as he is, you'd think, 275. I mean, because he put together pretty well.
Oh,
You'd
when he
think
benches,
275.
that's moving a long way.
Mhm.
Oh.
long
His
arms.
chest isn't overly big, and his
Right.
arms are so long. Yeah, he's a freak. He
Guys
is.
benching 300 pounds or 350 or something, and they're lifting it this far. He's
Right.
lifting it this
Yeah.
far. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I'd be doing bench, and I'm about as heavy as I could go, and I was struggling, and I put it back on the rack, and he comes behind me and just picks up the bar and curls it like
Yeah.
3 times. It just makes you feel like you can't
Well,
lift it all.
I saw him with some high schoolers, and they were high school football players. I was in there working out and watching, just giving him a hard time, and they were squatting, and they were giving him a hard time, like, "Oh, jump in with us." And he's like, "You don't want that." And they're like, "Oh, jump in with us." And, they were senior football players, and he just grabbed it without even doing anything, and just picks it up and just lifts it about
Yeah.
3 times over his head
Yeah.
and puts it back down. They're all like, "Okay, never mind."
Yeah, he is. He's a freak.
Yeah, he is.
I hope he never listens. I don't want him to think that we think much of him.
Talk about another guy who's a big Cubs fan. He texted me the other day, and he says, oh, man, I bet never seen people so excited about second place and all this. And I was like, where are the Cubs at? And he didn't have a response to that.
Well, you know, he's got it right, though. His grandfather played, so.
Pitched for the Cubs, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
And the Cardinals?
And the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there was something he was mad about the Cardinals, too. When it Stan Musial broke up a no-hitter or something his grandpa had going. I mean, I don't feel bad about that. Stan Musial player broke up 100 pitchers, no-hitters.
Yeah.
He told me he enjoyed his time with the Cubs way more than the Cardinals.
Well, there's no pressure to win.
I never met the man, but I know that's what he would say if I did.
So, Penny, tell us about when you are out on the farm and who's the boss out there? Is it Jeff or you?
It's been a rough week. Just ask Chad. Well, I would say I'm the boss. Sometimes he's a little bit smarter with things than I am, but I usually get my way in the end.
Do you think he just gives in and figures out that it's just easier?
Yeah, he knows after, I don't know, 28 years, it's just easier.
And he's retired now, right?
He is, yeah.
So he's
A year ago in
full-time.
Full-time little hobby farmer.
Nice.
Yeah. Ask him about putting up one hot wire fence and turning 20 cattle loose after the deer ran through the fence the night before. And then all the deer are out, and it's 40 degrees, and I'm hot out of the shower with wet hair, and I have to go out at 6:30 in the morning and help him catch those 20 cows. And then I have to go to work. So luckily Chad got to listen to that this week. I was not happy.
That's why he was like, do you need me to go to the post office?
Yeah.
Yeah. What can I do
so
to make
busy.
your life easier?
She
Tell
never-
Jeff to get rid of the cows.
She never watches movies either. She doesn't have time to watch movies.
No.
Penny
She doesn't
doesn't.
know anything about
Well,
TV.
you watch movies.
I
though, don't
watch
you?
lots of movies, but I encourage her to do more.
And I
but
have
she doesn't
watched
have time.
more
Yeah.
because I came into work one day and I said, last night I watched Robert Redford, and the night before I watched Clint Eastwood.
Well, what's your
I
favorite
watched-
Clint Eastwood movie?
Probably the first one I watched.
Probably
It was
the
from
only one she's watched.
1993.
In the
It
Line
was,
of Fire.
In the Line of Fire.
John
I
Malkovich.
had never
What's
seen
your
it
favorite?
before.
Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
Oh boy,
Gran Torino was pretty good.
That was probably The Outlaw of Josie Wales. That's probably
That's
my
pretty
favorite.
good.
Yeah,
My favorite is Every Which Way But Loose.
that's a different Clint Eastwood.
I know,
movie.
it
And then
is.
Every
But
Which
it's
Way
funny.
You Can was the
Yeah.
follow up. So
There's like 4 different Clint
Genres.
Eastwood kind of movies. There's
I think Cry
those
Macho
he
is
did.
totally different.
Well, and I haven't seen that yet, and I
Yeah.
want to
Need
see
to watch
that.
that.
Then there's the Grand Torino, the ones he's done lately. Then there's his kind of those
Funny
spaghetti
ones.
type westerns that were awesome. I mean, you know, Outlaw Josie Wales, and then the
Good, the Bad, the Ugly.
what High Plains Drifter, where he didn't even talk, you know, hardly in the whole thing. I mean, those are all really, really good that you can watch about every 4 or 5 years.
Hang 'em
and still-
High.
right? Oh,
Gritty movies.
what's your all-time favorite movie? Period. And I know that's really difficult to do, but just like your top, that would be in your top 2 or 3.
I've watched 1,000 movies in my life.
Okay, what
so-
about if you picked a genre? What's your favorite comedy?
And again, it's hard
Well,
to just say your number
let's
one.
just put it on the
Or
record
like what
now.
pops in your mind?
My favorite movie of all time is The Fighter. Christian Bale.
Really?
Yeah, that's my favorite movie
Isn't
of all
Mark-
time. Mark
Mark
Wahlberg,
Wahlberg?
Amy Adams. Yeah, that's my favorite movie of all time. I think I saw it in the theater 8 times.
Are you serious? Wow.
Twice by myself, and then various people went with me. At
I'll have to
various
watch it
times.
again.
Yeah,
Christian
it was
Bale.
Forrest Gump for a long time. I really liked that movie.
That's mine too.
Yeah, and
It's a top 3 for me.
Shawshank Redemption's a good one. That
Mhm.
1994 was a great year for movies, and those were in.
Do you ever feel like you're Andy still, and you're crawling through that mile of crap, that tunnel of
Andy Dufresne.
Andy
Yeah.
Dufresne?
Yeah, there's a lot of lessons in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, you should just go to that part and be like, boys, there'll be a lot of days you're gonna be crawling through this tunnel like
Yeah.
Andy.
Every year or every decade he was in there, his poster changed from the pinup model on, and then that's how he busted through. And
Right.
it's great.
Yeah.
Penny, do you have a favorite movie?
I just started watching him when he became chief.
Right.
I haven't,
That's not too long, I guess.
Right.
This
So
movie I watched was from 1993, so
her top 3 are the 3 she's watched. Let's see.
yeah, the ones I just watched this week.
Do you have a favorite
Yeah.
movie if you had to pick one of all time?
That I could only watch the rest of my
Yeah.
life, or I don't know. I mean, that's so difficult.
It is. It's because you have the different genres, different years.
That's what I do. I just pick genres.
I think you got to go with like a top 5. Like just what movies come to your mind? Like these are my top 3, 4, 5 that come.
I always just say True Grit was probably my top 3 with John
Can't
Wayne.
argue with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, he's probably my favorite actor of all time. But I like Pulp Fiction too. That's probably in my top 5.
That's good.
But that's two different, totally different kind of movies there. So it's tough.
You like Tarantino films?
All of them.
Yeah. Did you see the latest one?
Mm-hmm.
His ode to Los
Yeah.
Angeles, and
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
yeah, that was fantastic.
I loved it too.
Mason, I just think that they haven't given you enough things to do in the first 17 years of your life that you know all these movies. You should have
All
been
of
out on the
Elvis's
farm working with me.
All of Elvis's records, all the songs.
Yeah, you're a wealth of knowledge on music and movies.
If you had to pick an Elvis song, number 1.
Ooh. Well, that's this thing there. It's slow songs and upbeat songs.
You got Memphis Elvis and Vegas Elvis, fat and skinny, different genres of his music, different speeds.
Right.
Have you been to Memphis?
I've been to Graceland,
Me
yeah.
too.
I went with my grandma, Carol.
Lonesome Tonight.
The part owner of Jake's Antiques on Route 16.
Right, exactly. Where you can
She'll
buy the
say
soda
she
that we
is
drank.
the
tonight.
The owner, the sole
Yeah,
owner.
she says she's the boss.
She is the boss and the owner.
She's form filler outer.
And the other day, the other day, my grandpa said that he could file for mental abuse from working with my grandma for so many years.
Well,
I don't
probably
think she
could.
liked it when we were sitting at the table and I said, probably true. There's probably some truth to that.
So one later Elvis and one earlier Elvis song.
Early Elvis, I like Heartbreak Hotel and the Midnight Train or something like that, Mystery Train. It's not a very well-known one, but that's one of my favorites.
B-side type of song.
And then Vegas Elvis is Suspicious Minds, maybe. But Dad likes the remixes, the Elvis remixes. Little Less Conversation, that's his favorite
that's
one.
a good one.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
been a lot of movies too. That
It
song.
is.
Yeah. I think it might even have a cowbell in it. So can't
Which
go
makes
wrong
it
with
10
that.
times better.
Yeah. Yep.
What's your favorite kind of music then? What do you listen to
What do
on
you
a
listen
regular
to when
basis?
you're working out? The zone. I'm most
90s
curious.
alternative.
Okay.
90s alternative. Yeah, you can't go wrong from 89 to 2002. That's a pretty good genre of music there.
Yeah, it is.
It beats to what we were growing up with, like big hair stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't age well. But when you hear it on the radio, you'll listen to it
I
and
listen
sing
to
along. But as far as like listening to songs
to it
with
every day when
message
you work
and-
out.
Yeah, it's 90s alternative. You put it on Spotify and you can there's hundreds of songs and you'll say to yourself, well, I haven't heard that one in 10 years. And then you start listening to that one. And so, if I had to pick one, that would be that.
Or he'll play one at
On
work.
YouTube, yeah.
Yeah. Penny,
Play like the
name
Titanic
this
song.
tune.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
heart will
What
go
movie
on.
did this go
yeah.
with?
Play like the
I do that all the time.
Titanic song, and you'll stand up and have one of the deputies hold your waist from behind. Put your arms.
I didn't have time for music either. I don't know.
You're too busy working.
I mean, listen.
Yeah.
Penny, take a breather.
Yeah.
Who do you listen? Do you not listen to anyone?
Like now, country, but before he
Yeah.
would say, well,
Yeah, like I'd put on a 1977 England Dan and John Ford Coley song, and she'd be like, I think I've heard
well, I
that
won't
before.
I won't say what I told him I was doing during that time. And that's why I don't
Yeah,
remember.
I have to edit that.
We all learn from their mistakes.
Yep.
Penny's a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah.
Oh, I did find out something about your cousin Penny this week, and it'd be a great story.
What's
and
that?
Might have to go on a whole separate podcast.
Yeah,
Oh,
probably.
really?
But she was a witness to an armed robbery in Shelbyville,
When?
1980.
Where?
Eisner's a grocery store. I was held at gunpoint
Are
by
you
two
serious?
guys.
Yes,
Really?
I found the report the other day and brought it down and said,
No
look
way.
at this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
Well, I don't talk about it very often, and it brings back bad childhood memories.
Still has
She
PTSD.
goes to therapy twice a
I know.
week for the Eisner's armed robbery.
She's trying to get over it from
It
1980.
was horrible.
Yeah. She gets
Yeah.
a check every month
Yeah.
Yeah, it was August of 79,
That's
and they
right,
caught
yeah.
him
in 80.
in 80, and he found the old file on it. So it was neat to go back and look at my 2-page handwritten report. But yeah, it's a really long story. I don't know. Jill will be going cut, but Yeah. I started working there when I was 15 and a half, and my dad said, what would you do if you're ever robbed? There's no robberies in Shelbyville. It's not going to happen. Well, we were getting ready to close one night at 8:50, and two guys came in. They looked like Lenny and Squiggy. You know who Lenny and Squiggy are?
Laverne and Shirley.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know you're talking about.
That's who they look like. And they bought a pack of cigars and some Brock's peanut clusters. And they came up to the register, and they each had a gun, and they told the girl that was cashiering, Karen, to empty out her drawer. And then our office was a few feet away, and I was in that area. And so they had their gun, and like, this is a robbery. And so I went over to the office and did what my dad told me. I just gave him money, and, it's just running the whole 2 seconds running through your mind. Are they going to gag us? Are they going to tie us up? Are they going to take us hostage? And there were some people in the store that were behind them who had witnessed it. And so the guy that was working there was pushing the carts in. It was the end of the night. He took off running to the police department, which was just a half a block away. And they took off. The robbers went out the door with the money. And it would have been, 9-10 months later, they came and they pulled me out of high school, and it was the FBI from Charleston, and they had a lineup of one of the robbers. One of them was already incarcerated, and I found out in this report there were actually 3. There was a getaway driver, and then the 2 guys that came in to rob, and one of them was already incarcerated in Vandalia for another offense, and he ratted out the one that they hadn't caught yet, so I had to identify through the lineup. And so they went and arrested him, and I don't know. I'm sure they're out of prison by now, but my dad wouldn't let me go anywhere forever. I had to stay in my house, my yard, my room. I could go to work, and that was it. Because they put our picture. Yeah.
So he won't let you go anywhere, but you can go where
you're
you're held
picture
up.
on the front page of the paper.
Yeah, he said, your picture's on the front page of the paper.
It's not safe for you to go anywhere other than
Yeah,
to work where you were robbed.
Yeah. Well, it's Bill, So. But
it's funny.
Yeah, it was really interesting to read that report. Most of it I remember. There was a couple little things in there that I didn't, but yeah.
But didn't you say there was a safe? And
yeah,
they were
there was
telling
a
you to get in it?
safe. Like the office wasn't closed, and there was an old cash register, so I'd got the money out of that, and I was trying to not get the checks in there, and he said, hurry up. And so then he said there was a safe, get in the safe, and it was open because we were going to put our drawers in there at 9 when we closed, our cash drawers, so I kind of jiggled it, and I'm like, I can't get it open, and it was unlocked the whole time. But anyway, they took off. I think the report said the 3 of them split $200 and some.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they thought they had the guys down at Main Street School because there were a couple of guys lingering around there, and they stopped and interrogated them and figured out it wasn't them.
Yeah, they just had some beer and brown paper sacks,
Yeah.
and they were swinging and drinking beer. And
That'd be tough in the 70s, early 80s.
And
No
the police
kidding.
department at the time was like right where the county jail is. There's that open lot. That's where it was at that time. So
That's interesting. And the guy bolted out the door to
yeah.
go to run to the police station.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh yeah, I was going to be a hero." He's like, "I'm out of here."
Officer Gary Crowder, he was an officer at that time. He showed up. He was in a elderly lady's house because she thought she had heard somebody, and so he just left her standing in the house to come to us, and it was too late. They were gone by then, but
Wow.
yeah, probably the only
Can't believe we
grocery
never had
store
that.
armed robbery in the history of
Yeah.
Shelbyville.
That's
Illinois.
crazy.
I hope so. I think one time the First Trust Bank was held
I
up
found that report
when
too.
it was inside their little branch that was inside IGA,
IGA,
right?
yes.
Yeah, I remember that.
And he also held up several other banks in like Hillsborough and Vandalia area.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. That was
probably in the
83,
80s. I was going to
84,
say
yeah.
80s. I remember pretty little.
There's I don't know if you have any more questions, but there's one more question I want to ask, and it's what are you most proud of in your life so far? Both of you.
Does raising children count?
Anything. What makes you the most proud in your life?
Absolutely. Raising children and watching them succeed in life. And you get more joy out of watching them do something that they're proud of, and you're proud of them for that. And when you have children, you'll know what I'm talking about. Just like Clay's so proud of you for doing this podcast right now. Something similar like that. But seriously, yeah, that's the thing I'm most proud of, yeah. Benny?
Yeah,
Same?
I couldn't say it any better. That's really something to see your children become who they are, and now grandchildren. We both have grandchildren, and so we're watching them grow, and do different things. So it's pretty rewarding.
The only question I had to wrap everything up was, is there any way that you would be willing to tase Mason on air so we could see? It's probably illegal.
The things that would come out of his mouth.
A couple waivers we need to sign, but other than that,
right.
Yeah.
It's like in The Hangover, they do it from up close and
Right.
far away.
You do have to sign some waivers, but fortunately we have the waiver filler outer right here. So, no, I appreciate you guys coming on too.
Thanks for having us.
Yes,
Yeah.
thanks for coming on the show. Glad we could
Yeah.
finally work it out.
Yeah.
My people got in touch with your people, and we were able to figure something out.
Well, when we have agents, it just kind of
Takes
a long time,
sometimes
yeah.
schedules don't work.
The
but
contract details to work out. So
Well, don't forget, you can purchase all the soda we drank on the show at Jake's Antiques, like we mentioned many times. And that's it for tonight's podcast. Thanks for listening.